Have you guys seen that Trump is just in such a state right now?
We are a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat deportation. He didn't want the person deported. How about yesterday? They said, oh, she had a big crowd. Oh, the crowd, the press is talking about the crowd. What they are doing is, in my opinion, totally illegal. Kamala is grossly incompetent and, in my opinion, has a very low IQ.
He's actually in a mess. This is the last speech that he gave, or one of the last speeches he gave in Montana, and he just doesn't shut the fuck up about Biden. He talks about Biden so much, and here's one of the... Let's just have a look, okay?
That's correct. I think Crooked Joe is more correct than say... You're like, all right, ready? Crooked first, right? What do you like better? Crooked Joe? Or Sleepy Joe?
He's workshopping his insults and taking feedback from the live crowd as he does it. At a rally. He couldn't even get a focus group. He's just like workshopping his stupid personal insults. Of course, Sleepy Joe's the better one, right?
Crooked seems to always win. I mean, he's a crooked guy.
This is the incredible complaint that they've made, though, right? Is the switch out. And this is why I don't have that much regret, or any at all, actually, for saying that it was really risky. It was pretty risky to think about just dropping Biden to let him get replaced this late in the race. It's a very unusual thing to do, okay? That's a very risky thing to do. I don't regret thinking that now, because I don't think anyone could have predicted this Republican reaction, right? The fact that not just the sexism and the racism and all that shit going about her sleeping her way to the top or being a DEI pick, or the fact that suddenly we've all forgotten what it means to be mixed race because apparently she can't be Indian and black at the same time, all that shit. But also, I don't think anyone could have predicted the fact that Republicans would be saying, we spent so long working on our attack lines against Sleepy Joe, and now we have to swap out and think about attack lines against Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Oh no, that's so unfair. I guess we'll just keep on shitting on Biden because our attempts to get started on the Harris thing without really much thought or reflection is not playing very well. Like just throwing everything at the wall to see what hits this late in the game.
All he had to do is think of it. If he didn't do the debate, he'd still be running. They'd be saying how great he is. He's a brilliant man, a wonderful guy, really at the top of it. That's correct.
Still attacking Biden. He does it again.
Very bad. The good part is he didn't use much of his. You know, they give you 2 minutes, and they'd say, right, you have 92 seconds left. And I kept saying, I'll take it. Can I have it? I want it. I want the 92 seconds.
He's still talking about the debate. He's still talking about how he won the debate. Okay.
And then they do another one. You have 37 seconds left. That's a lot, you know, when you're up there, 37 seconds. And that's the last thing he wanted to hear because he didn't want to talk anymore. You have 77 seconds left. He goes, oh, Joe, what am I going to do? This is who our president was. And now we have somebody that's worse, in my opinion, worse. Very bad.
Still going.
Couldn't beat me now. I mean, after the debate, he was down, way down in the polls. They didn't even want to show the polls. They said he's not going to win. So they said, we're going to take him out and we're going to put somebody new in. This never happened to anybody before. We spent $100 million fighting crooked Joe Biden. And then all of a sudden they decide to take him out and put somebody else in. She never got one vote.
That's not fair. She only got, I love it still. It's so funny. You can tell that their lack of preparation and the disarray, the fact that they don't know what to do about this change in candidacy, because they keep on trying to throw things that no one cares about. Like trying to say that it was a coup, that Kamala Harris won without fucking any votes from the DNC. Even though I have not seen a single Democrat complain about that. Because we understand that the DNC is a private party. They can choose their leader in whatever way they see fit. And picking the vice president based on funding and practicality or whatever just makes the most sense. But they just decided to say, oh, wait, well, we got accused of a coup. And Kamala Harris got to be the running for president without vote. Oh, shit, coup. Like, it's so desperate. It's so desperate.
She was the first loser in the primaries. You know, she ran against Joe Biden and everybody else. I think they had like 16 people running. She never made Iowa the first state. I love Iowa. You know why I love it? Because I win it every single time with the farmers. We win it.
The farmer.
But she never made Iowa. She was the first one to quit. And now, and stupid.
Every accusation is a confession. It's like, I don't know why that's the case, where that comes from. Every accusation is a confession. For the Republicans, that kind of projection does make sense, though, because they have to think of something. But the problem is that they don't have any policies. They can keep saying open border. The problem with that is that the Democrats did try to push forward a border control bill that was shot down because Trump wanted something to run in the election with. He wanted the border issues to still be an issue that he could use in the election. Meaning that legislation which could have solved the problem, at least from the right-wing perspective, that people like McConnell or Romney or whatever even said that it would solve the problem, Trump made sure it didn't pass. Trump made sure that legislation didn't pass because he wanted something to run on in 2024. So he can't just talk about open borders for an hour and a half or 2 hours in his speeches. He has to attack the Democrats on something, but because they don't have any policies or values, some culture war issues, okay, can't repeat those too much. Well, just think of, okay, well, what did they accuse us of? Well, coup. Well, okay, Kamala Harris got picked by the DNC without an election. Okay, let's just do a coup thing for a week. And it just, yeah, if they can't come up with their own attack lines because they don't really have that much of an ideology to base their attacks on, then they'll just throw it whatever comes their way. It's like an army that basically that uses, like in the Lord of the Rings or whatever, like when people use the rubble from the fucking trebuchets, from the catapults on the city and use the rubble to shoot back at them. It's kind of like that, It's like we're out of ammunition. Well, let's just pick up whatever munitions have been dropped by the enemy. Okay.
Honestly, she was the nastiest to him too, and then he picked her. I couldn't believe it. And she was part of the cabal that got him out. They got him out. They said, we'll do it the nice way or we'll do it the hard way, Joe. We'll use the 25th Amendment and we'll call you mentally incompetent and everybody will believe us. And what they did is a terrible thing, actually. They forced him out. It was a coup. We had a coup. That was the first coup in the history of our country. And it was very successful. He said, okay, I'll leave. If that's what you want, I'll leave. And now he's seeing what the competition is. I hear he's going to make a comeback at the Democrat.
I mean, at least if it was a coup, at the very least it was successful. So I guess Trump is a little bit jealous of that.
He's going to walk into the room and he's going to say, I want my presidency back. I want another chance to debate Trump. I want another chance.
It's floundering. It's so lacking. It's so lacking compared to what Trump was doing in 2016. Remember in 2016, we're going to build a wall. We're going to make Mexico pay for it. The Muslim ban. We're going to we're going to fix the economy. We're going to drain the swamp. It was so much like, if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, that's like, there's so much positivity in those messages, like if you're a right winger who's confused and like angry. But now what the hell is this? It's just like, it's like hyper real. Trying to address being called weird. People calling JD Vance weird would have been a thing for like a week. And then people would have just commented on, gotten used to the things that he's done and just spoken about those. But the weird thing now is like, it's like, when it's like when a kid's getting fucking bullied and shit, and they're like, please don't call me that name. And then everyone calls them that name. It's like, people learn these things really early in life, but fuck.
And then he said, by the way, J.D. Vance is doing a phenomenal job.
Oh, yeah.
But then he said, well, think of that. Think of the things I just said. Then he said, I think J.D. Vance is weird. It's a word that they use. I think he calls me that too. No, we're not. We're very solid people. We want to have strong borders. We want to have good elections. We want to have low interest rates. We want to be able to buy a house. We want great education.
Okay. There's a bit of the populism borders. In there. Vague, yeah. Okay, good.
I think
strong borders, yeah.
Actually, I think we're the opposite.
We want strong borders, but we also shot down a border bill that was actually quite right-wing and quite generous to what the right-wingers wanted, just because Trump wanted an issue to campaign on. And even McConnell, obstructionist extraordinaire, Mitch McConnell, was mad that Trump did that. Okay.
They're weird. You know what they do? They work with the press on coming up with a soundbite, just a soundbite. And every station that night, all the networks, CBS, and ABC, NBC, they all said, oh, they were called weird. It's unbelievable. It's not a word that's really used too much in politics, but it's a terrible thing that they can do this. It's just a soundbite. No, J.D. Vance is a great patriot, and he's a United States Marine, and he's a real Marine, and he's a brilliant guy. and send Tim Sheehy to the United States Senate. We're going to evict crazy Kamala. Do you ever hear of Kamala? Radical left. Radical left. Well, she has a couple of things that a lot of people from Montana would like she wants to take away your guns. You like that, right? All right, how about this? She wants to defund the police. Are you okay with that?
She's never said defund the police, but okay, cool.
She wants to allow millions of people to pour into our border through an invasion.
She wants an invasion. Pro-invasion Kamala Harris. The Democrats tried to push a bill that meant that if 5,000 people were encountered at the border in one day, then the government would be able to shut down the border until the numbers were reduced again. Okay.
Using an invasion process. I don't think so.
An invasion?
I don't think that's...
An invasion process. An invasion process. Okay.
For you, it's not for me either. It's not for most people in this country. We're going to evict crazy Kamala, and we're going to... Wall said that socialism is just another word for neighborliness. She wants to be... He called...
Is that quote to do with the fact that right-wingers call everything socialism? So, oh, you've been accused of being a socialism. And you're like, well, one person's socialism is another person's social security. Yeah. Not actually socialism. I don't know why people are accusing any people of being socialists. It's just because the American way is that they've actually come back to it now. I don't know why. Tim Walz was actually a really good pick now when I think of it, because all of his weaknesses electorally might actually be strengths. One of his weaknesses electorally is just that he's quite left-wing. He's a pretty left-leaning guy. But that actually works, I think, because they'll just call him a communist. And I think Americans have finally become desensitized enough to the point that they just don't take that seriously, especially when it comes to Republicans. It didn't work on Obama, and Obama was caught. He was clipped by that Joe the Plumber dipshit saying that if you spread the wealth around, it's a good idea, whatever, it helps everyone. And they're like, oh, that sounds like socialism. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger was out talking about socialism and shit in response to that. It failed. It was a massive failure because I think people just got fed up of it. Yeah.
Calls them neighbors, good neighbors. He signed a bill to give illegal aliens free health care. He abolished Columbus Day. He ordered tampons to be put into boys' bathrooms.
He ordered them. What? I don't know if Tim Walz did abolish Columbus Day, but if he did, I don't actually care because Columbus was a nutter. Even if you're not woke, okay, and you think genocide of native populations is actually based, or trying to enslave them so you can get gold and abusing the fucking kids sexually and shit. If you don't care about any of that, he's also just a shit geographer, bro. He thought he was going to fucking India. He had no idea where he's going. He didn't even know how to just fucking describe accurately the place he had landed in. But anyway, I don't actually know if Tim Walz did do that, so I don't know. He had a stance on Columbus statues. Was he just okay for people taking down statues? Oh, is it to do with they said that he allowed a riot mob? He apparently allowed a riot mob to deface the statue. Wait, hang on. We need the clip. There is a very interesting clip of Trump talking to Tim Walz, or about Tim Walz, during the BLM riots. So the TLDR of this meme is that Tim Walz delayed his response to the BLM riots because he sympathized with them, okay? The actual story is that there were fuck-ups, just not quite the way that Trump makes it out to be. So what happened was that the riots started, and then there were some calls to bring in the National Guard, which Tim Walz could do, but they were vague in terms of what they needed and where they needed it in terms of numbers and everything, because there was also a lack of coordination between the fire brigade and the police, so that people just didn't really know exactly what to do. And obviously one of the fears of bringing the National Guard is that if you miscalculate and you do it in the wrong situation, you can actually escalate. You can actually raise tensions unnecessarily or get people hurt who don't need to be hurt, whatever. Yeah, there's lots of reasons you could delay on that. The delay lasted a grand total of a day. And then he signed an executive order allowing the National Guard to deploy. This is actually Trump commenting on Tim Walz in 2020 during those riots.
I tell you, the best, what they did in Minneapolis was incredible. They went in and dominated. And it happened immediately. Tim Walz, again, I was very happy with the the last couple of days, Tim. You called up big numbers, and the big numbers knocked them out so fast it was like bowling pins.
What does this do to that discussion?
Well,
Interesting. Isn't that interesting that Trump actually praised Tim Walz's approach to the BLM riots? Because he did ultimately call in the National Guard, and I think everyone was aware that there were failures of precautions or plans of action when the riots were happening, because it was not every day you get riots and protests that large in the United States, you know? Anyway.
Do we have any children here? Please close your ears. He ordered tampons in boys' bathrooms, okay? He signed a law letting the state kidnap children to change their gender so that...
To kidnap them. Okay. I'm sorry. Why invoking the children? Okay. Even if you're not pro-trans and there are tampons in the boys' bathrooms, okay, well, there's just a bunch of tampons that aren't going to get used, okay? And now, it's bizarre because now, this happened in the same week that fucking Trump tards and all the other Republican shitheads and right-wingers started saying that because Iman Khalif had XY chromosomes, apparently, that she has to be a man. You realize that if you have XY chromosomes, if you're saying that everyone with XY chromosomes is a man, including people who are intersex, who have XY chromosomes, but also vaginas, fallopian tubes, and can menstruate sometimes, well then yeah, you have a tampon in the fucking boys' bathroom, just in case. Why not? Doesn't even have to have anything to do with trans people. These type of people think tampons are something sexual. Oh, anyone who thinks tampons in a boy's bathroom is sexualizing, it's because they're a nonce. Okay, that's it. They're a self-reporting nonce. Because why the fuck? Why does a tampon make you think about shagging? What? Why?
They go home, but I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about her. This is her ideology. That's why she picked him. And he signed a bill allowing pedophiles to claim human rights protections under the state law.
Wait, hang on. I need to fact check this one as well because I remember this not being true. I think it's actually the complete opposite of what he was accused of. Oh yeah, this was the picture that was used in the fact check. Because they were saying that he wanted to make it a sexual orientation, which would give it human rights protections. Not satire or hyperbole. Okay, that's what they said. Walz, a former school teacher and member of Congress, has served as Minnesota governor since 2019. Harris named Walz as her running mate at the end of a 3-week Veep stakes following President Joe Biden's decision to end his re-election campaign. Since being named to the Democratic ticket, conservatives have criticized Walz for his liberal policies as governor, including supporting legislation, legalizing recreational marijuana use and a bill that allows undocumented immigrants to apply for driver's licenses. However, Walz did not sign a law giving pedophiles legal protections in Minnesota. The claim builds on a long-standing disinformation trope tying the LGBTQ community to pedophilia. The posts reference a Take Pride Act, which Walz signed in 2023 as part of a larger public safety law. Among other measures, the legislation removed a line from Minnesota's human rights law saying pedophilia could not be considered a sexual orientation. Democratic State Representative Lee Fink, who introduced the legislation, said in a 2023 discussion that the bill modernizes the text of Minnesota's Human Rights Act and aligns the law with a more contemporary understanding of gender identity. Some Republican figures criticized the proposal over concerns that removing the line about pedophilia could be interpreted as granting legal protections. So apparently there's a line in this law that said pedophilia is not a sexual orientation. And I imagine most laws don't need that mentioned at all because people are not retarded. Like everyone knows that pedophilia is a crime. So it's like, why would you assume that it gets extra protections and have to clarify that? Like, yeah, okay. Republican State Representative Harry Niska introduced an amendment adding the line, the physical or sexual attachment to children by an adult is not a protected class under this chapter. Yeah, the chapter actually says it. They approved the amendment but later removed it and it was not included in the final version. Other news organizations debunked false and misleading claims, removed harmful language. Is this because Republicans are on fucking social media and they've seen a repost of the 3 or 4 fucking maps who think that pedophilia or ephebophilia should be mentioned in these statutes as a protected sexual orientation? And there's like, we need to put the law in because I saw things on Twitter that made me mad. Bro, there's nothing in UK law that clarifies that being a pedophile is not a sexual orientation. You know, there's actually nothing there. We just have to, we happen to just know that in the legal system. We kind of just do that work without anyone mentioning it. They just wanted to throw in a straw man, probably because they want to assume that the people who try to make pedophilia into a protected class, a sexual orientation, are connected to the LGBTQ community. Okay, I see. No serious observer of the Take Pride Act would conclude that pedophilia is a protected class in Minnesota, and we are not concerned that any court would find such an absurd claim. So it's like so they took out the thing saying that pedophilia is not a protected class, but there's nothing in the bill to suggest that it is. Oh, unless you're a nonce. Unless you think that it's there by default because it protects what? Queer people? So unless you're a homophobic nonce. Okay. Wild. So yeah, I don't know. It just seems there's a struggle going on, and Trump supporters and Trump apologists have noticed. People have noticed. People are starting to break rank a little bit. Joe Rogan, the guy who will talk to anyone and fuck the advertiser. I'll fucking talk to anyone. Fuck you and my show. Blah blah blah. Fuck the mainstream media. He said this.
That's just what they do. That's politics. They do it on the left. They do it on the right. They gaslight you. They manipulate you. They promote narratives. And the only one who's not doing that is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
You a fan?
Yeah, I am a fan. Yeah, he's the only one that makes sense to me. He's the only one that he doesn't attack people. He attacks actions and ideas, but he's much more reasonable and intelligent. I mean, the guy was an environmental attorney and cleaned up the East River. I mean, he's a legitimate guy.
Now, Joe Rogan had to clarify, in other words, kind of walk back. He had to clarify that he wasn't saying he would vote for RFK because so many of his fans went fucking insane thinking that he was going to otherwise vote for Trump and then switched over to RFK and is going to split the right-wing vote. Which, by the way, I imagine most RFK voters are people who are probably going to go to Trump if RFK drops out. I feel like that might be a worry in terms of polling data, but who knows? Who knows? But yeah, Joe Rogan had to literally walk this back because the same thing with Rittenhouse. If you show dissent, Rittenhouse is more clear. Rittenhouse said he wanted to vote for Ron Paul and had to take it back within a day. There's actually footage of him doing it, if you recall. Do you guys remember the footage of Rittenhouse the day after he said he was going to vote for Ron Paul for more secure gun protections? Look at him go. After facing the Trump-tard mob for an entire day. One day. Poor guy, man. Oh, God. So there's a bit of a trend. People are commenting on it, though. It's not just Joe Rogan, though. It's, even the Quarring had to comment on this. Remember this?
Real quick on all this dumb infighting and melting down. First it was Kyle Rittenhouse. Now it's Joe Rogan. Look, Joe Rogan endorsed Bernie Sanders in 2016 and Trump won easily. Has everybody who is one of these mega influencers completely forgot about 2016 and how every poll had Hillary ahead until the very end? Has everybody forgot how Cory Bush had 1 million Twitter followers and got beat by a relative nobody with 10,000 Twitter followers? Twitter is not real life. It's getting really cringe seeing so many of these quote unquote.
Just so you know, Twitter is basically real life now, right? For the people that he's talking to. Twitter is actually real life now. It's more real than real life. Twitter in the last fucking week had people saying that this boxer is a man based on one guy who told one Russian fucking news agency that she had XY chromosomes. Okay, that happened. And then we had the riots in London because a bunch of cunts, Tommy Robinson, Andrew Tate, etc., used a murder of 3 children by a 17-year-old Rwandan refugee, or not a refugee, just Rwandan second-generation migrant, actually, from fucking Wales, born into a Christian family, because they made it, and they used that murder to make it about Muslims. And then we had a week of rioting. Twitter is real life, unfortunately. It's more real, but okay.
Mega influencers melt down and react emotionally to what is obviously a Kamala psyop. These images that get out that many people are saying are AI. The fact that she had a concert in a wildly popular band's hometown, and it was a free concert of Bon Iver in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, their hometown. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, the Kamala phenomenon is real. Trump needs to fire his campaign manager. Oh my God."
It doesn't help that I think Trump parroted this as well, didn't he? That this image. People said it was AI because you couldn't see the or that's actually, well, that one actually is fake. But okay, this is the real one. People said this was AI because of the reflections in the plane. I don't think there was ever any evidence for it, but I can confirm this was taken by Harris campaign staff. And even the right-wingers are calling each other out on it, on the disinformation. It was a live event. Yeah, like, fuck me.
Holy crap. I'm getting real tired a lot of these mega influencers that are suddenly now doom pilling, because the point of the Kamala psyop is exactly this, and you're falling for it. Okay? I'm not going to call anyone out by name because, it's not helpful. But the fact is, all these huge crowds and all these polls that are coming out, they have one goal, and that's to make you panic and make you demoralized and make you give up. And you guys are falling for it. It's so obvious.
I wonder if that's a psyop, then Trump is the biggest psyop of all right now, because him and Vance are so fucking deflated just in such a short space of time. Is that part of the psyop as well, to demoralize people by being absolutely fucking like intergalactically retarded? Like Trump spread that as well, saying that it was AI. By the way, that was partly Trump. Okay,
how can you not see this? Stop tweeting about how, oh my God, the polls. Oh, Trump's got to make a major change. No, he doesn't. Kamala's going to get.
You could stop calling pictures AI when they're not. If you said it yourself, bro.
On that debate stage, Kamala's going to have to answer questions eventually. Kamala's going to have to do the town hall, and everyone's going to remember how unlikable and how much of a crotch she is. Okay, so stop being babies and get out there and harvest a ballot. That's how you win. That's how winning is done. While you guys are all crying on Twitter about, oh my God, a 21-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse didn't endorse Trump. All you're doing is pushing away potential Trump voters. Your followings are exclusively Trump voters. You aren't making a change. You're just turning people off. Chill. Stop falling for the psyop, the obvious psyop.
So Trump is part of the psyop because he mentioned one of them was the AI stuff. Okay. Who else do we have? Oh, there's been other people as well. Tim Pool, Candace Owens. They've all been taking a little pop here. Tim Pool's Twitter feed has a few examples. Nick Fuentes is fully just like, he's at war. He actually declared war on MAGA. Yeah, the Groyper War. Look at this. It's interesting because for all of his flaws as a human being, and there are many, the thing with Fuentes is that it's difficult because he's a Zoomer who like listens to Kanye West, and clearly with the way he was able to radicalize his audience is he does seem to have his finger on the pulse of at least some of American youth. The angry, racist white ones, namely, and also an alarming number of Hispanics as well. He knows what's what. Like he listens to he enjoys Kanye and shit. Like it's a difficult time to be racist. Okay, can you imagine Hitler like listening to fucking Django Reinhardt in his spare time? Fuck no. Those guys all pretended to be really interested in Mozart and Beethoven and shit. I think it was Beethoven's string quartets. That was like Reinhard Heydrich and all those wankers' favorite shit. Yeah. And Fuentes has noticed that optically and in terms of especially the youth or voters in general, is the Trump campaign is failing. They're doing a really, really bad job.
Dare I say it?
Yeah, say it.
I am declaring
this background is so much better than that stupid fucking skyscraper nonsense. Okay.
a new Groyper war against the Trump campaign until we can figure out what the hell is going on. I'm declaring a new Groyper war. You have alienated us. You have ignored us. You don't listen to our concerns. We have been left behind. The Trump movement and the GOP have moved on without us. It serves Israel and corporations and immigrants, but it doesn't serve Native Americans. What about Native Americans? What about Americans? What about young white men? And others too. But what about us?
There's like that little fucking smirk on his face when he says the Indians or the Native Americans when he's talking about white people because he's... Oh, God.
Charlie Kirk is to the right of Trump on immigration. That's unacceptable. Shit. So I think it's time for another Groyper war. We're bigger, better, stronger than ever. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Rumble. This is a big live stream every night. We have allies, so I think it's time to up the ante a little bit. Joker 2 is premiering in October. Joker 2.
Oh, no. Those guys are going to be queuing out the door for Joker 2, aren't they?
5-year anniversary. The show is back. We're opening the chest. I think it's time for Groyper War 2.
Wow.
And this time, we're going all out. Justice once. and we will bring the energy. It's just a question of whether they want to get on board or get out of the way. That's the question. But we will bring, the Groypers will bring the energy. Memes, edits, replies, trolls. Get with us or get the fuck out of the way. Groyper War 2 coming soon.
Trump had dinner with this guy, didn't they? Is Trump going to have to disavow the Groypers? Is he going to draw attention to the Groypers? Oh, no. I don't know. It's interesting times, okay? And I wouldn't encourage any complacency, okay, in the United States, because I think RFK Jr. dropping out and endorsing Trump, that might be bad. That might be bad. Also, never confuse hype for like tangible results. Hype does not always mean tangible results. You know who else had hype? Corbyn. You know who else actually had a bit of hype was Hillary. Maybe not quite the same, but you know who else had hype? Trump, 2020 election. No, he didn't drop out. I'm saying if he does, you fucking pay attention.